Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight and neck head straight in one line, your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes for ourselves to understand how this practice will help for us to develop our awareness, and at the same time, how we can use this practice to our day-to-day life. Because what we practice need to become a part of our life. And you have to develop your life out of that whatever you practice. It is just not only certain time period and you do something and then you're going to have something completely different lifestyle. So, especially when it comes to meditation practice, this is something we work with our mind. So as ordinary people, we all are depending from our mind. And 24/7, we deal with our mind. But how the meditation going to become different than that ordinary way of dealing with mind? So when it comes to our ordinary life, so the most of time what happens, out of our experience, out of our perception, we always think. And out of that thinking, maybe whatever happened outside, it is not really effect for us. The way we think about it can affect more deeply for us. So if you understand that, it is very important to see the very nature or the condition of the mind when you experience something. Because most of the time the suffering means the way we experience the world. It is not that in the outside world somewhere. It is not something like poison when you touch or when you drink, it's going to die. It's not like that. This is the way that you understand. If you hold it in a wrong way, if you understand and if you grab it in a wrong way, and according to that, what will happen? So whatever the experience you gain, going to different. So then rather than when you experience something, rather than focusing to this outside situations or the focusing to the face value, start to look the way you experience it, or the way you hold it, or the way you maintain or deal with that situation. So for that, it is very important, the condition of the mind. Because this mind behave in different ways. The very nature of the mind always grasping, clinging, holding, and it always like to settle down, which is not going to happen in the reality. In this real world, as you know, this entire universe, and when it comes to entire body, head to toes, this everything vibrate. Everything in a journey, everything energy, the nature of the energy always flow. So there is no way to settle down, but the mind always dreaming. There is the imagination to settle down. So this itself take us to holding, grasping, clinging nature. And that itself can create a situation deeper in you, and that situation maybe create some kind of turbulence. So that is where the fear arises. Sadness, worry, disappointment, unhappiness arise. And when it comes to enlightened masters, there is something in them, they don't have fear. So how they are not going to have fear? Sometimes sometimes people try to make them fearful, afraid, shake. But when they don't get shake or afraid, when they don't have fear, sometimes people say, oh, are you enlightened? Because you don't have fear. So how this fear come? So just imagine you jumping from a higher place. If you don't contact the ground, you're not going to hit. If you are always in the process of falling down without grounding, there is no touch going to happen. So like that in your mind, if you always have the nature not to settle down, you don't have a fear. So this settling down nature bring the fear. Not only the fear, and it create many other things around it. So to rescue the mind from that is not easy. So the very first thing that you have to understand, basically, what we experience depend on many things. And even what we experience sometimes, not the really that the whatever this outside, because each and every person experience different thing. As example, like as human beings, what we experience is different. And just imagine when it comes to dog and the cat or the bee, they have different way of experience the same thing. So within which one is right? Because as human beings, what we see as colors, the dogs can't understand. And then the cat going to experience different kind of color or different kind of way that it experience the world. Maybe you and me say red, white, blue, like that. And the honeybee, so the bee, they are experience the world in different ways. So then which one experience the right world? So all are different, but according to its capacity, according to its position, according to its environment, and whatever they experience, that is their world. So then when it comes to us, so the very first thing then, You have to remember that what you experience, it is not completely that the outside world. It's mixed with our inside. So that's the first thing you have to understand when you hear, smell, taste, feel, even think. If you know that, it gives a little release rather than holding, grasping, clinging. Oh, this is what I experience. And that will help you to keep falling down rather than settling down, rather than grounding. So that's the nature, that's the way that's a one way, it's an example. There's a one way that you can get out of the fear. Just not to think, oh, it's going to end here like this. No, it's a process. That when your mind come to end point, there is something. So in that is the conventional level. But when it comes to the Dharma, there is an end. So it's a kind of like the Nibbana. So when it comes to Dharma, when it comes to this practice, there are three things that you have to understand. So one is the place where you are, as who you are. Understanding that is very necessary. And the second one is understanding the path that you take. What kind of path you take. And the third one is the final destination and how you get into that final destination. It's not reaching to the final destination. Once you reach to it, how you culminate, how you complete the journey. So just imagine you are planning to fly somewhere. So you can go to the airport. So that is very necessary. So that is the path that you have to take. And once you go to the airport, from that, you have to board into the flight. So if you are not in board, if you are not get into the flight, so then what will happen? Even the flight take off, you are still at the airport. So like that, how you complete the journey. So that's where the Dharma help for you. And when it comes to that, there are many other teachings in the world for people to settle down and to reach to something, achieve to something, gain something, fulfill their life. But when it comes to our reality, that deeper this happiness and satisfaction and the comfort that we look for ultimately with the liberation or the Nibbana, with the wisdom, every technique or every Dharma, you can't use it for that. There are certain things that you have to use. So when it comes to that Dharma, you have to understand the very behavior and the nature of your mind. So understanding the world also important, but basically the main important, fundamentally, you have to know the very behavior and the nature of the mind. Why? Because the mind is the creator, mind is the forerunner. And according to the condition of the mind, your experience change. That's the bottom line. So then look into that, work for that. Because we work for a lot of things in day-to-day life, but we don't work for our mind. Work for your mind is different. So when it comes to that, so the mind has three kinds of nature. So today we are going to open different window to get into deeper level of understanding the nature of the mind, and that understanding will help you to release the idea of self or the I am. So one nature is imagination. That's the power of mind. And sometimes it say, that is the power of the God that gave to you when you came to this world. So as a human being, when you have the power of imagination, you have the creation around you. So look at this, everything around us. This all we experience as a power of imagination. So, and when it comes to that power of imagination, it's a kind of like a synthetic experience or the synthetic knowledge. It doesn't have a deeper value. But see, that imagining, what you imagine, it comes to the world and you can manifest, but it's not going to be there. Your imagination is not going to stop there itself. It's look like something, but it is not there. This all is look like something, but this anything not going to be here within another 100 years. Very few things. And even it is not from this level. Everything. That's why it's a kind of like a synthetic. It looks like real, but it is not like that. But that is the very nature of the mind. You can't get out of it. But basically, this is the nature that the mind have. So we always used to have that. We train for that. We learn for that. We put our energy, effort to that imagination. We live with it. It brings us the comfort to us, imagination. And there is another nature in mind. It's the kind of like a consummate nature. There is something that complete, perfect in you. You already went through something and you complete. And when even that imagination cannot change it. So there are some complete experience in you. So as example, that if you really burn your finger, if someone really burn your finger from fire, there is no space for imagination to not to get burned. So it's complete there. And even the whole world come around you and tell, oh, this your finger not going to burn anymore. This is the last time. Just put it to fire, put it to fire. Don't worry. But if you really had the consummate nature or the wisdom in you, you're not going to do it again. So like that in mind, there are some things that you complete. It's a complete, perfectly you experience and you know that. So then, and by the time, so as example, that the change, when you experience the change, and through meditation, through observation, you can reach to this consummate nature, or you can complete that understanding and it become a wisdom, and then you know there is nothing permanent. There is nothing permanent. But still you and me not came to that complete, perfect experience. We know it. We just smell it. Or maybe we little bit, we saw it, but we never touch it. So there are something, it's not going to work with the imagination. So then look into yourself in day-to-day life. When you have your life, most of time, where are your mind? with the nature of the imagination or with the nature of consummate. Look into it. And when something comes to you, when you go with your perception through your eye, ear, nose, thumb, body, mind, look into yourself and see where your mind, how your mind base with, from which point of view you take that experience to you, with the nature of imagination or with the nature of consummate. If you look very carefully, then you will see. And at the same time, in between these two nature, there is another nature in our mind. So that nature called this dependent nature. Is no one do it. As example, when you see something, it touch your eye, and out of that, eye consciousness arise. And out of that eye consciousness, that recognition arise. So it not kind of like your imagination or your completion not going to affect for that. So it happened there. And when the sound come, that when it come to your ear consciousness arise. So that is dependent nature. When the smell come to your nose, that the recognition, that the nose consciousness arise. So that is dependent nature, and the form, feeling, perception, volition, recognition. So this is a dependent nature. It's not someone or any intention interfere or somebody do it or something do it. No, it happened as a causation, cause and effect. So then remember, in your mind, so that's mean the mind is the world, mind is the universe. So when it comes to that level, the entire universe has this three nature. So that means the universe means not that it's outside. So it is our inside. So that whatever outside means, it is our inside. Try to understand it. Because when you say universe, there is something in you. And that something in you may be not, not something in me. It's maybe different. Like for a child, the universe means something. For a matured person, elder person, something. It's different. So like that sometimes. And male and female is a different way of understanding, different way of experiencing. So like that, what we hold, what we experience by this perception can change according to our gender, age, time, space, environment. So like that. But still there is a nature, these things happen, that dependent nature, it similar to everybody. You and me, we all, it's in the middle. So we all have that. It's same. So the Dharma is the way, method mean that you have to touch into that. So that is where you can understand, not your imagination, my imagination change. It's different. And your consummate nature and my consummate nature also can be different. What you complete as experience, what I complete as experience may be different. But in my mind and your mind and everybody's mind in this very moment in around the world, that all this 8 billion people, and at the same time, eons by eons backward, all the human beings, and eons by eons forward, all the human beings, to all living beings. Try to catch it, to digest it a little bit. It's hard. All living beings have this dependent nature the same. It's not going to be different to me and you and all the animals and all the other living beings. It's not going to be different. You and me, all living beings have this dependent nature, same. But imagination, person to person, and dependent from the karma and the consummate nature, depend from the clarity of understanding, it changes. So then use this ability. How far you can touch this dependent nature, that is what called understanding reality. Another way it called, the very famous way, see things as it is. If I simplify it more, natural experience, dependent nature, everything depending from something. That is the natural nature. So then in day-to-day life, have you ever experienced that? So when you see something, when you hear something, smell something, taste something, feel something, think something, have you ever, that is where the power of awareness need for you. Have you ever see this dependent nature? Because it's 24/7 everywhere, for everybody is there. It's not going to be someone else for high class people or low class people or a skillful person, and it's not like that. Oh, you have money, you come from wealthy family, you are poor. It's not going to be like that way. So then this is the thing with the Dharma. Dharma does not belong to time. So the Dharma is not, you can't put it to any category. You can't categorize it. You can't limit it. Dharma is available to anyone. But the power of imagination is not going to be like that way. So but dependent nature is everywhere. So that's why for you, even during the Buddha's time to today, even to the future, anyone can, even after eons by eons, again when the Buddha arises, and he can tap into this wisdom and get it. So like that, this all the time available. So then it is your opportunity. Are you willing to experience this? Are you capable? Are you have any skill to experience this dependent nature? Once you experience it, it becomes consummate nature. So, and then you have to look into in this very moment as consummate nature, maybe as like a habitual patterns, karma, good or bad, or whatever we complete, whatever we hold, whatever we are perfect with, build up our base, foundation. So that's what another way called the karma. that is where your intention comes. So the intention come out of the quality that you base with, another way we call that what we hold in us, what we nourish in us. So that give the intention. So that intention open us to imagination. So that is where the karma is your creator. So then look into yourself and see what is your foundation. What's your foundation? How you can see that? Look your intention from where it comes. Because your imagination going to follow your intention. But still, that's the very nature of the conventional life. But still, in the middle, there is something. All the time. It doesn't matter how bad karmas we used to be, just imagine that, how beautiful this wisdom if you get, because it doesn't matter that you came from very difficult background and you don't have anything, you didn't go to any school, you don't have any diploma, you don't have luckily any PhD, you don't have anything, but still this is available for you, this dependent nature. You are exist because of that. So liberation or the nibbana, enlightenment, available for each and everyone. So especially only person can understand this, only living beings can understand in this human world, because animal world they can't understand this. So they more go with this complete nature. There's a consummate nature. In the animal world, they can't go beyond their pattern, their habitual pattern. But for us, it's not like that. So then don't miss this opportunity. And you can go with imagination. There's no end. And all the people, everybody, reach to Mars, and then again they try to go to moon, and they try to go to moon, and they try to bring some kind of gold or some kind of valuable things to Earth, and then it's a universal. They're now talking about universal village. They go to other planets, and people live there, and we create universal villages, and they bring all the minerals from there, and they build up here. Look, there's no end. Of course, people will do that. If we come back within another 1,000 years, maybe people will do that. That is not a magic. It's the power of imagination. But still, this dependent nature, it's going to be all the time, because that is the ultimate truth. So then, nothing wrong, you go with the imagination, and at the same time you look into what you have complete nature in you, and without depending this both, and come to dependent nature and experience that. And then what happened? Once you experience that, bring it as your complete nature, consummate nature. So in that way, you, rather than this shallow level of life, you slowly start to go deeper. And then with that, by the time that anymore, you don't have this grasping, clinging nature. You come to a kind of like that place you start to falling down without looking place to settle down. It's a kind of like a you, it's kind of like a you start to experience different kind of matrix. It's not a kind of like another imagination. That is why when it become real, you come out of the egg, which you can't go back. So little by little, try to absorb it. These all lessons every day, little by little. You know, you come to that level. That's why little by little, that this you slowly changing your consummate nature. You deeply, you rub and scratch your foundation, and slowly you change that pattern. So before you die, complete that. And in that way, even you don't need to be hurry. It's kind of like you have to be comfortable, because once it become your pattern, by the time you born again, even you die, you're born with that nature. That's the important part, because it's become your consummate. So then it has power, ability to change the pattern of the karma, change the blueprint. So it is a good environment for all of us to look into us, look into our condition of mind, and see in the bottom level, deeper, what is our true nature. And once you are capable, little by little, clean it, and touch with this dependent nature. And you're going to have the very comfortable way of experience without holding, grasping, clinging to anything. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself. And say Sopat Deva, or may I be well and happy, 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalations. So deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. When it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once. Like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata cha ammehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Maya dhamma nudhamma patipatya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi. Addaya imaya patipatya jati jara vyadhi maranam ha paribunjissami. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.